What's up guys, this is Noah with AvidMax, and today we're looking at the new Orvis Hydros 2 Euro Reel. Right out of the box, let's check out what you get. So standard with an Orvis reel, you're gonna get this little pamphlet, and there's a lot of valuable information in this pamphlet. They're gonna provide capacities for line backing, and you're also gonna get a maintenance record of when you should be doing some stuff like routine maintenance for your reel. So I highly recommend keeping this with your box just so you can always refer back to it in case you have any questions. Otherwise, you can always contact us. The reel comes in a really nice black neoprene case. It comes with a pocket on the back, and this pocket has a really cool little key. And that key is used to change from the left to right hand retrieve or right to left. And we'll show you how to do that later on in the video. Now looking on at the reel, this reel comes in one configuration. That's a matte green color, and this is a machined aluminum reel. Since it is aluminum, it's gonna be corrosion resistant. So you're not gonna have to worry about this thing really breaking down on you. You're gonna buy this reel, and you can really ensure that you're gonna get your money's worth out of it, and that you'll have it for many years to come. So now looking at the reel specifications, this reel comes in one standard size, like I had said before, weighing in at 5.6 ounces and the diameter at 3.5 inches. So because of those specs, this is a large arbor reel, and with a large arbor reel, you're gonna get the benefits of one. One is that you're gonna be able to pick up your line a lot faster on that large arbor, and your line's not gonna have as much memory as with a smaller arbor reel. Two main talking points that I really wanna hone in on. And the first is being that there's a tighter tolerance on this reel. So that means that you're not gonna have as much slipping between components. And this is really critical when you're Euro nymphing because you're using thinner running lines, thinner fly lines, maybe you built your own mono rig. So by having a really tight tolerance reel, you're gonna ensure that you're not gonna have any fly lines or lines slipping out of the reel when you're trying to fight a fish or even when you're trying to cast. One of the first few times that I was Euro nymphing, I was using a reel that didn't really have a tighter tolerance. And when I hooked onto a fish, the fish took the line and he went, but my line went nowhere. So it got stuck in the reel and the fish actually broke me off. So from then on out, I have always decided that I wanted to use a high quality reel, a reel that had a tighter tolerance, that there was no wiggle room between the components, and that's exactly what Orvis made with this Hydros reel. Now another part of this reel that I want to talk about is because it's a fully caged aluminum reel, it's gonna be a little bit heavier. Like I said, it's 5.6 ounces. Because it's 5.6 ounces, because it's a little heavier, does not mean that it's a bad reel. This is actually a benefit. This is something that we're looking for in a Euro reel. So keep in mind that when you are fishing that Euro style, you're using a 10-foot to an 11-foot rod. So having a little bit of a heavier reel is actually gonna help with that counterbalance. For today, we are gonna pair it up with the 10-foot 3-weight Orvis Recon. Now, the benefits of making sure that your rod is counterbalanced correctly is that you're not gonna have as much arm fatigue when you're fishing. You're not gonna be sitting there and you're not gonna have to try and fight it. You're gonna have increased sensitivity, you're gonna have better control over your rod and casts, and at the end of the day, it's just gonna feel better. So those two components are really what you're gonna get out of having something like this being a fully caged aluminum reel. Now there's one more thing I wanna really highlight that I find to be really awesome about this reel. There was a time when I was fishing with another reel and my spool actually popped out of the reel. And yes, I felt like an idiot, and yes, it happens to the best of us, but having that little click sound when you connect the spool and the reel together really ensures that you're intact and you're ready to go. And I actually really enjoy that feature that Orvis put into that reel. Whether they did this by accident or they intentionally did it, it's an awesome little add-on for the reel and something that I really like. All right, now let's take a look at the back of the reel. Particularly at this textured knob, you're not gonna have to worry about, your hands slipping off. There's these nice little grips in there. Visually on the outside, there's a little arrow, or at least what I like to call an arrow. And something that I like to do with it is I use that arrow as a little indicator on where my drag's set. So starting out here, there's no drag tolerance on this reel whatsoever. But when I'm fishing or before I start fishing, and if I know I'm gonna fish for something particularly bigger or smaller, I can actually adjust this, and I know when I'm out on the water, I can just look down, and I can check to see where my drag is. Now, you do have to be a little cautious about that because this knob does go around one full turn plus a half, but you can really feel it once you pass it a half turn. Now for the drag system, you're looking at a stainless steel carbon disc washer. Now what does that exactly mean? Well, that means that your drag system isn't gonna sputter or jerk around once the spool starts moving, right? Once you got some backing or fly line getting ripped from the reel, you're not gonna have to worry about a jerk or anything like that. So that's a really well thought out drag system and one that I particularly really trust. It's something that when you are out on the water, you're not gonna have to worry about looking down at your reel or making sure that your reel is gonna fail when you do hook onto a bigger fish. Now one more thing I wanna really highlight on this back end is the refined seal on the drag knob. Now, what this is gonna do is it's actually gonna help protect the bearing in the drag system when you're fishing. So because you have that little seal around there, you're actually not gonna have to worry about dropping this reel in water, setting it down in dirt, maybe you actually put it down, take a photo of a fish, because let's admit it, we've all done it, and your reel's sitting there in the sand and sediment, it gets dirty, it gets stuff all in there. Because there's that seal around there, you're not gonna get any of that sediment or dirt or anything in that reel, and it's really gonna ensure that that drag system stays intact and you're not gonna get any stuff that gums it up or backs it up. So now for all you other anglers who fish with buddies, who may have a left-hand retrieve or right-hand retrieve and you gotta change it back and forth, Orvis made this really easy to do. To start, you're gonna go ahead and take the reel and you're gonna separate the spool from the reel. You're gonna grab that nifty little key that's kept right there in the back of your neoprene bag for you. You're gonna take the little key, go right there into the reel, and you're actually gonna line the 2 dots up with the key. You're gonna spin off that top, just to unlock a little bit. Pop this guy right off. There's gonna be a little bearing right in there. And what you're gonna do is you'll actually flip that around. Take it out and flip it around. Then you're gonna take this knob, you're gonna put it right back on, tighten it up with your hand, don't go too tight, and then take this little key, align those holes up with the key, and then just give it a nice little tight turn. That's just to make sure that everything fits in there, everything works, and you'll feel it when it's nice and tight. You're gonna take that spool, slap it right onto the reel, make sure it clicks, and you're good to go. And then you got everything that you need. You can switch it night and day. It's really easy to do. It's very simple to do. You can even do that on the water. This will be particularly easy for some of you guides who have to change that retrieve for some of your clients. This is a really simple thing. Just make sure you don't lose this key. So now looking at that reel foot, you're actually gonna have 2 screws that feed right into the reel. And I really appreciate this because in the rare chance that this does break, it's very simple just to replace one with another. In less expensive models, it's not so easy, and oftentimes you have to send the whole reel back, but not in this case, and I actually really appreciate something like that. This is a really well thought out reel. It looks clean, it feels nice in the hand, it's heavy, it's got a great drag system, it's easy to use, and the best part is it's reliable. It's something that I have a lot of trust in, something that I have handled big fish on, little fish, and anything in between, and something that I would recommend to anyone in the Euro nymphing community. And a really big focal point about it too is that because Orvis does sell a spool separately at an additional cost, you can carry that spool with you when you are Euro nymphing in case you see a little dry fly hatch. This really is an end-all be-all kind of Euro reel, and one that I definitely recommend to anyone who wants to get into Euro nymphing. That's everything that we have to say about the Orvis Hydros 2. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why don't you give us a like and subscribe. Comment any questions you have over this reel. Otherwise, if you want to pick one up for yourself, you can pick one up at AvidMax.com. Other than that, hope you have a good rest of your day and we'll see you on the water.